Fuck's sake, Woocash!
Welcome to DrifterAtHeart podcast. I'm Woocash and today I will be talking about drifting in Japan, BMXs, magic wands and casting spells. But with whom? With the 2019 BDC and the 2020 RDC drift champion, Ollie Evans. Stick around and I'll be showing as well his 100 grand build for the next year's DMEC or whoever else that's gonna come up and gonna decide that they want that in their doors. Dude, it's a weapon and it looks absolutely gorgeous.
Do you reckon?
Give us a little walk through what we can find here, because obviously you can find the best engine builder in the UK that put his hand on it already.
Yeah, first plan was to get the engine to DY, and yeah, he just went through everything and just look at it. It looks ridiculous, doesn't it?
Aye, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I feel like they've actually built something that's quite impressive to look at now, because the shell was all done by, I think the guys that do sort of the pro drive stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it's all strut to strut cage and just all like CAD. It's like a CAD bended cage, so it's just ridiculous, you know. It's so yeah.
So it's a S15 with. That is a really nice centerpiece. It looks so odd, but so good going down.
Just trying to make everything fit like properly. Oh, it looks a bit of a mess, doesn't it? But
don't worry about it. Everybody knows that I'm just arriving halfway through the job and putting the camera in their faces.
yeah, I've been messing around with the fuel pump and stuff in the back, just making all sort of the setup a bit easier. So that's why the tank's out. So I made all sort of the tank cover because it's like a plastic cell inside, because you have to have like a bladdered tank. So I made my own case because I'm tight again. So yeah, you say 100 grand build, maybe not, because it's me that's messing around with it. But
people often don't realize that, or an engine or like a fuel cell, that's few hundred.
Oh yeah.
But end of the day, you can always, if you're gonna send it out, it's gonna cost. If you're gonna do it yourself, it's still the time, is the hours and work and the material and gas for the welder or what's not.
Well, I got called out for it, for obviously saying that, and then I was like, okay, well, if you take into account your man hours, like you're saying, electric, renting a building, a space to do it, and all the rest of it, and the time and the effort that goes into it. The reason the drift cars seem so cheap is because everyone's building them themselves, because if you put on the build cost to somebody else, then you just...
Most people can't afford, especially to build something that they're gonna rag around so hard.
Yeah.
And end of the day, every time we're out on the track, we already signed a waiver that yesterday I might lose my car.
Yeah, like I could spoon this the first time I ride it, like absolutely destroy it, and if I do that, then it's total loss. It doesn't take much to take a corner off one of these, like, and that's what I ended up doing in the back here, was because rather than leaving the standard struts in or the standard chassis legs, I put like a collapsible rear end in it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But like this is all still steel as well, which obviously isn't the best, considering it probably should be fiberglass. But the fact is that it's all still very straight. So, and like I prefer metal really, because I just hate fiberglass.
But often what I've noticed, so instead of taking thin pipes like that, which gonna collapse, gonna bend, they weld it heavily straight to the chassis.
Yeah.
Pull out heavy, thick pipes. Soon as you rear-ending or you taking a quarter in, you start moving the chassis and the turrets, and it's not as sturdy in certain places because it's cut out. And if you don't design it to collapse on small impact, you'll be just moving the chassis left and right each time.
Well, I've actually made like thinner walls of these tubes here, because these are quite firm, these. So I've actually done a thinner walled, because we just use that for the initial bend. So we've got the templates for that now.
Okay.
Well, Josh from QFab. So he did the templates for them, so he can just Josh them out straight away.
Yeah, Josh is doing some amazing work.
Josh did all these, these parts down here, and then that's a nice fab.
Andy Frost, the Iceman, he's doing loads of fabrication. In many cases, well, actually in all cases up till now, those are all fellow drifters.
Yeah.
So
he's done a lot.
yeah, I can help with that. He can do something else, I can do that, and we just exchange kind of...
What the fuck can Magic do?
What he would do, or...
What can he do?
I've heard he can make a brew.
Yeah, I've yet to see it,
yeah, I'm yet to see that.
But everybody loves Magic, so it's all right.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
Magic, nobody likes you.
Nobody likes you.
Having a unit like you here.
Yeah, out the way.
As well, I was driving here, I'm like, I'm wondering how much your neighbors like you.
Yeah, well, we've got that little concrete patch at the top there, and that's where I spin some of the cars around sometimes. And we do a thing in the field called Redneck drifting.
Okay.
Where we just sort of like, we set up like a drift track, and a few of my mates come down with like some of their road cars and that, and we just have a mess around in the field. But last time we did it, I rolled my old man's...
the pickup.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah, I rolled Old Spice's pickup up, so tried to do a big flick entry and blew the sidewalls out the tyres, and it just dug in and went over, and I was like, oh God. So yeah, we haven't returned since that. Doing one of them moped, the moped motocross, where you get a moped, the cheapest moped you can get. We're going to set up a motocross track.
Okay, I don't think I've heard about it.
Oh well, yeah, have a look at that. So you're only allowed a 50cc moped, and then we have we set up a moped cross track. So yeah, we're going to do that next year.
So main thing is, what is drifting? Because you are the champion of 2019 British Drift Championship.
2019 British Drift Champion, Oliver Evans!
You are the champion of 2020 Retro Drift Championship.
Yeah.
Could be his right now, can he take it?
Why the hell drifting? Where did you go wrong? And what does it mean for you to go sideways?
It means a lot of expense. It's the main thing. So yeah, just I don't know. Like I was saying before, because I was into my Cozzies and all of that, so like Fords and stuff. And basically, I had it on the road, and then I got caught speeding. Got banned for a short period of time because I was driving like a knobhead. And then it was basically started from there. So it was like, well, if you're allowed to do that on track and go sideways, because that's basically what I was trying to do, and I would do a track day and get black flagged and wouldn't be allowed on, but then now I'm allowed to drive like that on track, so that's just the best thing ever. So for me it was just like going into something that I was allowed to do. So I was allowed to drive a car like this, or any car really, any car that's rear wheel drive with a welded diff, and I could drive it basically in a way that it shouldn't be driven. So it just kind of went from that, and then it was like I used to be into BMXing, and BMXs you'd learn how to do a trick, and then you try and do it higher, then you go faster, then you do it over a bigger jump, and then it just kind of escalates like that. And
you are as well quite good. You are champion in some in BMXing or something?
No, I was a sponsored rider, so
okay.
I used to have basically a company called Federal, Federal Bikes, WBMX, and a distribution called 70s. So they used to do quite a lot with me, which is what the handlebars in the car. So that's sort of that's quite meaningful to me,
you might see in some of the videos of Ollies from the inside of the car that his hydro is actually a bar of one of the BMXs. Yeah. Which is really cool and unusual.
Yeah, so I did that in my very first drift car, in my Beamer. When I first started, it was like, well, I needed a hydro handle, and the first thing you do is with one of them cheap ones, you just snap the handle straight off, don't you? So that was like straight in the bin. And then the very first one I made is still in my competition one, in my S14. So yeah, I've always used that, and people always say, it's a bit awkward, like sort of over to one side and away from the gear stick, and everyone's like supposed to have it like here, and I prefer it up there.
For me, it's like however you feel like it. I've got it on the other side of the gear shift.
That's where mine is.
And a mate of mine was drifting it recently when we were on the track, and he came from left-hand drives, and it was so awkward. You can see it on video where he's trying to grab it. It's just, as well, he's built different to me. In my seat, where it was just bad. He's like, why not? Why don't you have it here? I'm like, because I'm flapping my hands. I didn't want it to flap it into that. It's like it just does the trick. Like, plus, I don't hang on the hydro that much. So.
Oh, I do. I'm casting spells all the time. Me, I'm always pulling the one. But yeah, what I always found was as well, because with these cars, you have big tires, you know, loads of grip to pull a hydro. If you think you've got that wheel spinning, to pull a lever, small lever, and stop them wheels spinning, like it's a sort of a cheat as well because it's bigger. And when I pull it, I'm pulling through sort of my back rather than my shoulder. Whoever says like, oh, don't pull the hydro and all that, and fuck that. If you want to pull the hydro, pull it. Like,
No, I agree, but at the same time, I believe that for me as an amateur drifter, it's better value to spend, let's say, the first even a year or two without a hydro. Till the moment, really, where you start going to people's doors, I didn't need a hydro.
No, because I went to Japan and had a JZX90 and did all the Ibisu thing for 10 days before it got absolutely rinsed, because it's been just ruined now because it costs so much to go. You know, we did it like really, really cheaply, and like no hydro, just a cable handbrake. And I probably learned more in sort of that 10 days than like, you know, a lot of the drift days I've done before, because it was like 10 days solid of just driving, just constant every day. And like I was absolutely bollocks by the end of it, because you imagine doing 10 drift days in a row, you'd be just broken.
Plus it's as well open pit lane there.
Yeah, there's no marshals, no flags. We were driving, I was driving on North Course, come up over the hill, following Hayden, Crookshank, and as we come up over the hill, there was a car coming the opposite way. Like nearly had a head on, like just like what is going on? Like, but
that's
just like,
sketchy.
Oh yeah, it's horrific. It's on one of my videos on my YouTube.
As you mentioned about your videos, and Mike, that would be a good moment to mention that Higgo is doing a collaboration with Ollie, and he's doing all of the videos for him, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
And would you like to say what's the name of your YouTube channel and any social media?
So it's all pretty much just Ollie Evans Drift. So we just kind of, because everything's sort of drift orientated.
Yeah.
And me and Mike, we met with the BMXing. So I've known Mike for probably over 10 or 12 years or something, like too long.
That's cool.
Mike was always really good in the BMX filming. And then I got talking to him and I said, come to the drifting, see what you think. And the first time he came, and he was like, oh, well, I'll just see what I can film. And he filmed like this minute video and sent it over to me. And he said, what do you think? And I was like, it's ridiculous. Like, I was like, you've done like, because the funny thing about Mike, he'll be pissed off with this, because he'll definitely watch this, because I'll tell him that you've mentioned it. So you'll get a view at least off Mike. Yeah! So yeah, Mike doesn't have a license, so he doesn't drive, never been into cars, didn't know what an engine was or anything like that. So he's come into it and he films from a perspective of not interested in cars. So he's interested in what's happening. So it's changed a little bit now. Now he's into the cars and he's involved and all the rest of it. But the way he films things is completely different to everyone else, which, you know, is really good, because he's looking at it from his perspective, which general people who are not into cars look at it from the same perspective and they go, oh yeah, I get that. So that makes sense. It's a difficult one, and people that have made it work is just fair play to them. You know, we've got the memories from this year now where we can say, oh yeah, well, you can remember exactly what happened because you've got the video. So that means that, you know, having that sort of level of filming and everything else, you know, it's worth it. It's worth it to have them memories.
Main thing was, I wanted to have videos about me drifting.
Yeah.
First of all, being able to see where I make mistakes. So 10 years ago, I've bought this camera there.
Yeah.
And then always just been asking friends, I'm out there, record me. I want to see what's going on.
And then another person that came along with us as well was Dan Martin this year, and he's done all the photos and stuff, and then sent me this poster at the end of the year, and like that's absolutely outrageous. That's one of my favourite pictures I've ever had.
That does look amazing.
And there's all the Ibisu banners there next to it. You can see the Ibisu, where we did the Ibisu trips. We snapped the wheel off on like one of the second days, trying to change wheel studs in with a rock. And a Dango parked on the hedge. He had the nicest S14. But yeah, it was a crazy trip. Like, that was really good.
Aye.
But yeah, this is the wall of banners and everything else. Good fun.
What would you do if not drifting?
Instead of drifting,
Yeah.
I think I'd just be more grown up. At the moment, I'm a complete fucking asshole, really. Just go drifting. But to be honest, I don't know. I don't know with regards to if I didn't do drifting, because even if I went on a track day, then I'd get black flagged for drifting. Even if I was in a front wheel drive car, I'd still be trying to slide it in a fashion. So yeah, I think maybe like rallying or something.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd have a go at rallying.
You got some good tracks in the forest here.
Yeah, Clicaniog and everything.
For the last year, you did 3 music videos?
Yeah, I did
a year and a half?
3 or 4. I think I did 4. Might have done 4.
Okay.
And I did a commercial for Ford, the new Ford Puma.
Check you out, big in the game.
Well, that's what I mean. They wanted a front wheel drive car to drift around the corner. So, yeah, they asked me because I was a drift driver. So it was left-hand drive, front wheel drive, 19-inch wheels with brand new Pilot Sport tires. You know, I was like, how is this supposed to slide? They didn't have a pump. It didn't have a handbrake. It still had all traction control, and I was like, what do you expect me to do with this? But there's a video, but it's actually on the Ford YouTube. Well,
Okay.
Which probably, I don't know if I should say yet, because that's something else we're going to do at some point, so you might have to bleep that bit out.
Okay, yeah, sure.
But yeah, that.
Watch it, guys. That's the first news in the world.
Yeah.
But dude, thanking
No
you.
worries. No problem. Safe.
Thanks for having me.
Safe trip back home.
Guys, I need to admit, I really enjoyed doing it. Going to visit Ollie, recording the video, editing it. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Thank you to Ollie and Higgo for their time, amazing content and permission for me to work with it, do something for my channel. If you enjoy the content, hit that like button, it does help the channel. As well, Ollie, dude, I can't even say thank you enough for the amazing souvenir that you gave me. That's Ollie's old 2JZ intake manifold. I really appreciate it. It's dope. Is the Buxton Special and more material with Ollie. The next main episode will be Tom Seddon from Crest Motorsport. Consider subscribing if you want to get more regular content. And whatever you thought about it, or if there's a drifter you would like me to chat with, leave it in the comments below. Thank you for your time, guys. Appreciate it. I'm Woocash, Drifter at Heart. See you on the next one. Peace out.